but he's a man of grey hair, so kneel down. You don't just greet standing.
Oh, okuninza kumulamusya nimushagatire. Oliretya Rotary Albert Muhumuza.
President Frederick, can you see the mic is working?
Thanks for the compliment.
Yes, the microphone should be working pretty well.
Abandi kubatara tushagatira shabandi abenshi mara bashagatira.
Mwene kuba ngambira ngo.
When I'm saying Jenny Opito lireje.
Yasobera.
Bakushobera.
Papa shemerero.
Lireje.
Omwana mungu. Ogumire jajja.
It's 1 minute to fellowship.
Okay, you get prepared to go to the broadcasting house. Don't say you were shocked to be shut down. Go now to broadcasting house, please.
Thank you very much. Asante sana. Afoye matek. Tweyanzize ino. Mwebale ino mwebayirira. But more than that, a very good morning to you, our dear friends of Daybreak. It is always fun and quite interesting to tune in to the morning crew every morning of the weekdays. So thank you so very much, morning crew, for always keeping us warm. And in today, woke up when it's a little bit cold, but you've warmed up the morning. Thank you very much. And to you, our dear friends, Rotarians, Rotractors, guests and all friends of Rotary that have joined us this morning, allow me once again amplify the gratitude of the Daybreakers to each and every single one of you that has plugged into our fellowship this morning. I guarantee you, your presence makes a world of a difference. We do not take it for granted at all. We are still in the safe hands of the buddy group Blueberries as we journey through this month of the Rotary Foundation. So it is now my pleasure to invite you, Stephen Wax, to guide us through the flow of our norms this morning. Stephen Wax, over to you.
Thank you, President. I pray that I'm audible. Good morning, yes, President. Good morning, Rotarians, Rotaractors, Interactors, and our guests. Our lineup today is as follows. For the grace, we'll have Rotarian Pascal to take us through. For the forward test, Rotarian Dr. Patricia Okiria. For the forward test, we'll have Rotarian Faith Tushabe. Rotary information by all Rotarians who have Rotary information. Introduction of our guests will be by PHF Patience Musime. Interaction will be by PP Dr. Safina Musene. Vote of thanks will be by Rotarian Jane Opito. For our statistics, that will be Rotarian Yedida Nyakato. And for the final toast, it will be Rotarian Stephen Wakasenza. Without any further ado, I request Pascal to take us through the grace. Pascal.
Thank you very much. I don't seem to see
President,
Pascal.
Can I step in?
Please go right ahead.
Thank you so much. We thank you, Heavenly Father, for this day. We ask you to bless for what we have received, what we are yet about to receive. May we always be mindful about the needs of others. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Yes, Dr. Patricia, kindly recite for us the loyal toast. In the absence of Dr. Patricia, I will invite another doctor, Dr. Timothy Basima. Kindly unmute and give us the loyal toast.
Thank you very much.
Today doesn't seem to be a good day for doctors in the house, but allow me invite you, Rotarian Irene, to stand in for the doctor since you are an aspiring doctor and give us the loyal toast.
Thank you so much, President. For the fellowship that we are yet to have, I propose a toast to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda.
To His Excellency, the President of the Republic
of
Uganda. Thank you so much. Rotarian Faith Tushabe, our Youth Service Director, please carry us forward with the forward test.
Thank you, Mr. President. I hope I am audible. Good morning, our Rotarians, our Rotaractors, and our guests on call today. We can recite it together. Of the things we think, say, or do, 1, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very, very much. CP Sam, you can hear what warm water does to our voices in the morning, and please borrow a leaf. But friends, once again, I see most of us could just be joining us. I want to continue welcoming each and every single one of you for joining us. Thank you so much. It's right about now that I would like to invite you, friends, to weigh in with Rotary information that you could have. Please, you're welcome to raise your hand, or better still, unmute and go ahead and share with us the Rotary information that you might have. Let's do this together, friends. Anybody with Rotary information?
Yes, President. Good morning, President, and everyone. This is Agnes Naiga from RC Chigo. President, I'm just reminding members that we shall be hosting the DG on the 25th of November. Kindly join us. We shall be pinning 5 PHFs and inducting 3 new members. It will be both online and virtual. Thank you so much. It will start at 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. And President, let members join my fellowship this evening. Please, from 7 to 8 p.m. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Agnes. And I don't promise, but rather guarantee you that our able Rotarian, none other than Peter Odochi, will lead us to the fellowship. And not only the fellowship, he will also lead us to the governor's visit to your club. He's already booked his tickets, and I'm sure he'll be with us. PO, over to you. Friends, anybody else with Rotary information, you're welcome to please unmute and voice the Rotary information.
President, my name is Sam Mwanje, but the Rotary fraternity calls me Jaja Mzingu. Good morning, everyone on call. I have 3 announcements. Number 1, I bring you greetings from District 9214. I informed the Governor Young that I will attend this meeting, and I sent you greetings. Number 2, we are going to have a conference in Arusha in May next year. So friends, take your payments to the Rotary office, and then you register as well. $190 for Rotarians and $100 for Rotaractors, and that is the early bird, which is ending end of December. So take the opportunity of the early bird. The fees are quite friendly because they include registration, the meals, and conference material, and whatever. So we are eagerly waiting for you, friends. But we shall join you first in Arusha, in Naivasha. We already paid. We even already paid for the hotels. So come also and pay back. Number 3, President, Professor Augustus Nwagaba was going to be installed early this year around July, but it was not possible because of COVID. Cards had been sold out, and they had given, some of them had not been paid, but the function is on now. On the 15th of December. It will be a Wednesday. The function will start at midday. And we shall also be welcoming one of our newest members, the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda. So friends, join us that day. And for any question, you can approach me, reach me out, I'll answer. But it's gonna be a blast. Come and join us. Thank you very much, President.
Always an honor to hear from you, Jaja Mzungu at Daybreak. And indeed, thank you for sharing that very vital information, where the president is inducting a vice president in his club. But we'll be with you, Jaja Mzungu. Allow me right now, welcome you, CP Samuel Ngambwachi, to share your Rotary information with us, and thereafter invite our DGE to weigh in with his Rotary information. And after that, I will invite you friends to share with us in the chat section. Over to you, Sam Ngambwachi.
Thank you very much, President. On behalf of the Discon transport team, we've just displayed our early bird flyer on the screen. The booking for transport is already ongoing. The question is, if you already paid your membership and your registration for Naivasha, how are you going? There is a bus, like you can see, we have a bus 46-seater, the van, the Safariland Cruiser, the Costa bus, and flying either with KQ or Uganda Airlines, and all the prices are there. There is a payment mode if you want to use mobile money, but if you want to use your card, you can also go to Last Events. So all we are saying is get onto your Discon officer, get the contacts on the flyer. Please, let's utilize the early bird for registration for transport that ends on the 31st of December, and book our seats for Naivasha. There are a couple of offers as you book for early bird. So we appreciate you, and we're looking forward to your registration for Naivasha.
Thank you very much, CP Sam. I gave you an assignment to invite our DGE, Honorable Mike Sevalo, to weigh in with his Rotary information, please.
DGE, it's my singular honor to ask you to give your Rotary information. Thank you.
That protocol is Mr. President, we can't defy you, but we are simply here as members, so don't get it to levels of such protocol. But I thank you for it. Members, what I want to share with you is that yesterday was an eventful and productive day for Rotary. I did lead a delegation to the Kingdom of Uganda at the seat of the kingdom in Burange Mengo, and the delegation was made up of IRID, led by our very able May, and the Rotary Club of Kampala Daybreak, led by the president, and many other stakeholders. And during that historic visit, we witnessed the signing of the MOU between IRID, Institute for Rural Education and Development, and Kampala Daybreak and the Kingdom of Uganda, more specifically, the Ministry of Social Services, a function that was presided over by the Katikiro, who was represented by the Speaker of the Great Ruchiko, OHT Waruaga Mugumbule, a great friend of mine. It was very successful and an eventful event, marking a relationship between Buganda Kingdom, Rotary, and I. And very soon we'll be sharing with you the details of that partnership. Same day, again, I led another delegation to Makerere, the same delegation, and we were engaged in discussions of yet another partnership, and details will be shared as soon as they are firmed up. So that was a great day of serious activity on our side. I want to thank the team, President Frederick Chitakure, May Veg, and President of Presidents, Katie, was also there. We had a delegation from Sunday that was well represented, and members of Daybreak that accompanied the president. So that was a day well spent in terms of Rotary work. The other information I want to share with you is to do with growing Rotary and extending Rotary. We have the Rotary Club of Kampala Morning Glory, Saturday Morning Glory, which is already in the offing, and we meet every Saturday, 8:30 to 9:30. We want to encourage you to support it, participate, and if you have anyone that would find that time convenient, that is something that we really need to support. We also have the new club information, the Rotary Club of Kampala Jazz, Evening Jazz. They meet at 6 to 7 every Saturday. It is preceded by jazz music and preceded by jazz music after the meeting. Let's support them, very industrious, young, and people from across the globe. It is an e-club, so let's support it, and let's recommend people to go for the same. Even the Morning Glory is an e-club that meets physically, that will be meeting physically every Saturday morning of the last Saturday. We also have another e-club information, the Rotary Club of Gulu. They meet every Wednesday, 5 to 6. It is a very interesting club. Members of the diaspora have warmed up to it, and it is taking off in very good shape. Let's support it also. Let's attend the fellowship, and let's recommend people to join it. Although it is a Rotary Club of Gulu, being an e-club does not restrict only those in the geographical Gulu, but any part of the world, as long as Wednesday, 5 to 6 is convenient, let's encourage them, let's attract them. Thank you very much, President, and back to you.
Thank you very much, DGE Mike, CP Sam, VCC Sam, and Agnes for sharing these vital informations that I'm sure we have taken note of. I just want to build on the vital information that you've shared with us, DGE. Out of the signing of the MOU with Buganda Kingdom, we shall very soon be starting off our maiden project in partnership with the Buganda Kingdom, where we'll be putting up together an early childhood development center with a very big youth resource center in Kazo, Kawempe. So be on the lookout. We hope arrangements are really underway. Very soon we'll be signing off this very initial project and groundbreaking to start construction. So, but I want again to join you, DGE Mike, to thank each and every single one of you that was with us yesterday. We thank you and we don't take it for granted. I want very quickly, as I ask you, PHF patience, as you prepare to introduce our guest speaker this morning, I want to very quickly appreciate Daybreakers that joined hands together with the public over last Saturday to donate blood to our Rotary Blood Bank in Mengo. Thank you very much for your kind gesture and for your call to serve humanity. I also want to appreciate in a very, very special way, this being the month of the Rotary Foundation, I want to appreciate these gallant members of the Rotary fraternity, and in particular the Daybreakers, that contributed, pledged contributions to the Rotary Foundation to a tune of $4,650 in our fellowship last week. Thank you so much. It is indeed through this Rotary Foundation that we turn our gifts into services to humanity. I thank you very much. It is now my privilege to invite you, PHF Patience, to unveil our guest speaker this morning. Patience, over to you.
Thank you, President. Am I audible?
You are loud and clear. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, President. Good morning, Rotarians, Rotaractors, and friends on call. Our topic today is going to be service to humanity, the common passion for the Aga Khan Foundation and Rotary. And our speaker is Marilyn Mungereza. She's the country manager at the Aga Khan Foundation, where she oversees a portfolio of programs in education, gender and civil society, health and economic inclusion. She's worked as the country manager as TechnoServe Inc. Corporation for 9 years, working in various capacities, implementing programs for youth, women and girls entrepreneurship, and supporting agribusiness portfolio. She believes in power of knowledge to transform individuals, as well as the critical role that vibrant socio-economic institutions play in transforming societies. Marilyn holds a degree in law from Macquarie University, a postgraduate diploma in law practice from LDC, and a Master of Law degree in corporate governance and financial regulation from the University of Warwick, UK. Friends on call, join me as we welcome Marilyn Mungereza to speak to us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, PHF Patience. And Marilyn, you're very, very welcome. It is now my pleasure to hand you over this audience for the next 20 minutes. Over to you, Marilyn, and we are glad to have you this morning.
Thank you so much, Rotarians. Have a very good morning to you all. Apologies, technology is always one to disappoint. Sorry for the delay. Thank you so much for that very kind and warm welcome and introduction. I am very honored to be speaking with you all this morning. Allow me to begin on a bit of a personal note to just appreciate you all. As you might have heard my name, Mungereza, I am the daughter of one Fulgence Mungereza, who was a past president of Rotary sometime in the 90s. So I do have a close attachment to Rotarians, and I appreciate the club and the good work that you do. I also tried to join Rotary at the sort of, in your youth corps, I was an interactor in my high school days. I don't know what happened after that, but I do sincerely have a great respect and appreciation for Rotarians and the great work that you do. The vision, just a simple example of the work that you've been talking about, the blood donations, the investment in the youth center, the ECD center as well. So I see that I'm talking to people with whom we have kindred spirits. We have a shared interest in our community and supporting and building our country, making it a better place for everybody. So I really am honored to be speaking with you this morning. Allow me to share my screen and give you this presentation. I'm really glad to have the opportunity to tell you a little bit about the Aga Khan Foundation in Uganda. We have been operating in Uganda since 1994. We are a very proud part of the Aga Khan Development Network. And a couple of weeks ago, you had the chance to speak with Ambassador Min, who shared with you the broader vision of His Highness and the network that he has created. As the Aga Khan Foundation and the network, we celebrate pluralism, we promote equity, and at our core, we have the belief that every person should have the ability to realize their potential. The tagline, improving the quality of life, is what attracted me to the Aga Khan Foundation, following my stint at TechnoServe per my very kind introduction by Rotarian Patience. And I've been pleased to serve the foundation since 2019, September, when I joined in my capacity in my role as country manager. To give a little bit of a country context, which of course you do appreciate given your being very active members in the community trying to improve Uganda. Our context is very clear. We rank 159 out of 189 in the Human Development Index. So we have a lot of work to do to improve. We have lots of steps to climb to get where we want to go. We know our youth demographic, 78% of the population is below 30, and a big portion of that are below 14 years. While our fertility rates have dropped, our population growth rate still remains high, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go further along the presentation. We have some of the highest teenage pregnancy rates in sub-Saharan Africa, and all this is even before COVID. And I think we all know what happened after COVID. The quality of education remains low levels of literacy and numeracy, and high dropout rates. These are the things that plague our education system, and I'll have a chance to share more with you what we're doing as the foundation about that. Of course, our economy is very much agriculture-based, and still a huge portion of us are employed in agriculture. We are also a very generous sort of neighbor. We're a good neighbor, and we host over 1.4 million refugees from our neighboring countries. And this is the context in which we work, and the sort of the reason behind the interventions and the focus that we have as Aga Khan Foundation here in Uganda. These are our thematic goals, and you will see a lot of alignment with your own ideals as Rotary, and specifically the Rotary Foundation. We do invest in education, health, early childhood development, economic inclusion, agriculture, and climate resilience. Underlying all of this for us as the Aga Khan Foundation, we believe that civil society is a critical piece, and I'll tell you more about how we work with the civil society to reach these ends. We also have a cross-cutting gender thread that runs through all our programming. Agenda for us is just ensuring that everybody participates actively. If 50% of the population is left behind, we cannot achieve anything in any of these goals. We're looking at equipping girls and boys and young adults with knowledge, skills, and attitudes, and values that help them interact effectively. We always have a challenge with the education system. People always are bashing the education system, but I'm a proud supporter of the Ugandan education system. I'm a product of it, and I really advocate that we can improve rather than just critique it. Under health, we want to enable individuals and communities optimize their well-being and health to reach their full potential. A person who is not healthy cannot work and can't contribute and will be a burden to their families. So we really believe the importance of investing in health at the community and family level. We ensure that girls and boys have a good start in life by influencing the context and environment in which they are growing. This is critical, and we improve the economic well-being of women and men, and we do have a special focus on youth given our demographic in Uganda. Finally, we of course look at food security, which is a critical piece, agriculture development, and sustainable natural resource management. When we look at early childhood development, we're focusing on three sort of aspects, which is increased access to quality services, enhanced family and community support, and strengthen human resource and institutions. Early childhood development really for us it's 0 to 8 years old. That beginning, how does this person's life begin, is very critical in terms of ensuring, first and foremost, the survival of the mother and the child. I know that the foundation has an interest in maternal and child health, and so in this we're very much aligned. It's just a sort of the language and definition that differs. But we look at all the components of the well-being of the mother, attending antenatal and services, and making sure that she delivers safely and has a healthy baby who will then go on to be immunized as needed and have a proper nutrition and hygiene to grow healthily and survive their first 5 years of life. We also want to ensure that this child is able to have a good, nurturing, playful environment that allows them to grow and improve their brain development, because with the studies show that those critical years are where our brains, the foundational pieces, are built. If you have a bad foundation, whatever else you put on top will not be sustainable. So we try to make sure that we make these investments at the community level. We support preschools to improve the learning environment. We promote play-based approaches. We think that play is important, not only in childhood, but also at our level. Everybody is dying of stress. So this idea to play and be free to express oneself is an important theme that we believe should run through a healthy individual's life. We also support at the health center level, because there's a lot of this good catchment area for mothers and their children, and we make investments to create a child-friendly environment and give parents access to resources and information that will help them to improve, provide better parenting for their communities, their children. We look at strengthened human resource and systems. and we support successful transition from nursery to primary school. That's why you see it going up to age 8. We provide training and mentoring for frontline workers, whether they're community health workers, whether they're teachers or caregivers, as we call them, parents and supervisors. We develop curricula. We do teacher training. We have a teacher training institute for ECD caregivers specifically, and that supports both pre-service and in-service. We want to improve the quality of services being offered, as we know that ECD is provided mainly by private sector. So we try to make that investment to support them to ensure that what is being provided is quality service. We also provide support to the local government to effectively support the ECD sector and allocate resources to it. We know this is something that government is trying to do. We provide training to center management committees on their best practices so they can improve quality and motivation for the caregivers. And then, of course, this promotes quality services. We pilot innovation funds to test innovative solutions in ECD to increase access to quality services. And we have a lot of things that we're trying to pilot and be innovative in that space. When we look at our next core area, I think everybody knows us for the, for the schools and the universities. So this is critical for us. So once we made the investment in ECD, we continue through primary all the way to secondary and upper levels. We are focused on increasing access, quality learning opportunities and learning outcomes, strengthening systems and institutions, and enhancing community support. What does that look like? We're focused on training teachers. We do a lot of work in partnership with Chambogo and all the PTCs around the country. We do promote the platforms for learning, for peer-to-peer mentorship and networking for teachers. We promote values-based education, and we are promoting an emphasis on 21st century skills, things like critical thinking and problem solving. Whenever people criticize our education system, they say that it doesn't deliver people who are relevant, who understand the market, who can, get onto a job and understand what to do. Employers always feel like they have to make a lot of investment in people once they come out of school, so that they can actually do even basic things like, everybody criticizes how we're writing skills, simple punctuation, communication skills, presentation skills, and things like that. The values aspect is also lost. People always say, oh, young people are not reliable, they're flaky, they don't show up on time, they don't have respect, they don't appreciate that you have to work for time, they want, quick wins. So all these things and values and ideals are things that we're trying to infuse in our support in the education system. When we look at systems and institutions, we work, of course, with the local government because they are critical. They provide critical effective supervision of schools, and we support them with that. We train school management committees on various aspects, including gender sensitive and inclusive issues, so that they are the ones who determine what the budget is, what investments will be made in the school. And so we support them with tools and training and capacity building so that they can make the right choices for the institutions that they're responsible for. We are leveraging technology. Everybody in COVID has appreciated it even more. ICT is enabling us to collect data at the classroom level. We are making investments in a platform that will allow us to have access to know what happens in over 400 schools in West Nile and Central. This is a critical sort of tool or backbone for stakeholders like the Ministry of Education at the district level, the district education officer. We have challenges of absenteeism of teachers. We don't know what's happening in the classroom. Are children really learning? Are they being given the attention that they need? And this platform, we believe, will allow us to have visibility and the different stakeholders, which will be open to the stakeholders who are interested in knowing this school in Obongi or Moyo district. Are teachers showing up? Was there an English class today? Was there a mathematics class? How many children showed up? Which children are missing? Why are these children missing? So there's a critical piece that ICT has to play, and we want to leverage it optimally to strengthen these systems and institutions, because this information allows better decision making. In COVID, I think we also that teachers themselves do not have basic ICT skills to even join a meeting like this, or to appreciate that they can access new learning sort of tools and resources by just going online and Googling them. So we see that there's an important piece to invest in schools at the hardware level. Of course, ICT requires tools. You need a smartphone, you need a computer, you need projectors if you want to do something for a school or a group. But also you need the software that teachers need to be able to understand how to use these tools. The administration needs to understand why these tools are critical, and then they can make those investments. That's at the school management committee sort of level. A key piece for us in education, of course, is the community support. And this is critical for all, especially for girls, because the community creates an environment in which the children are nurtured. If the community does not support education, then children will not see the value of why they go to school. If the community doesn't understand that the children need to have at least a meal, pack something for your child to eat it, or prepare a meal for your child to eat. A hungry person cannot learn. Creating a safe environment to ensure that girls walk to and get to school and from school safely without being harassed, that they have an environment to equally be given the opportunity to do their homework, to study after school, and not just be doing house chores. Trying to give that good environment that allows both girls and boys, children with disabilities or whatever, different kind of, to allow an inclusive environment that allows every child to thrive and access education. That's a critical piece. So we work with civil society to help us with the community piece, because civil society actors come from the community and they appreciate the community in ways that we as an intervener, an external actor cannot have. We are doing a lot of piloting of innovative funds to test different solutions that are particularly focused on ensuring that the barriers that limit girls' access to education are broken down. And there are several. We're trying to work with civil society to promote sort of social behavior change at the community level. How does your grandpa see this girl? Does he see a person with potential to grow and become the next RDC of the district, or does he see this girl as someone who can just make sure, help him get some cows in the next 2 or so years? Does the parent, the mother, the father, the community see the value in the girls and educating them? Or do they see them as chattels or assets to be used and, for the benefit of the community and not for the girls themselves? So there's a lot of work to be done around the social behavior change, and we are trying to work on that for the betterment of the girls. And I'll look at these headlines. I think all of us saw these headlines during COVID. And this sort of is a good segue from education to linking it to our adolescent sexual reproductive health work. Based on just these 3 headlines, these are about 7,000, 8,000 girls that we're talking about. I think across the country, these numbers are probably in the high, tens of thousands, 50,000 plus, if not 100,000 girls who, have moved from being sort of children and learners in class to being mothers. What does that mean for these girls and for their families? It means that this girl was not being educated, who only went as far as primary, say 6 if she was lucky, or has only, joined S1 or S2. This means most likely that this is the end of her education journey. We have to ask ourselves a question: if this is the end of her journey, then what kind of mother is she going to be? And this is a question that we ask if she even survives, the childbirth, because at that age, they are not ready. A lot happens to a young person who gives birth. Those who make it are lucky. Those who come out with challenges like fistula, which is a common challenge for, unprepared mothers, who are underage, and other things that sort of happen to this girl that become a health sort of spillover into the health sphere. But we have to ask ourselves what kind of mothers these girls will be. And after they've had these children, what kind of, and many of them have been married off, unfortunately, what kind of domestic situation are they living in? And that's why we had a lot of this sort of domestic violence. And we are perpetuating that if we do not ensure that people who are supposed to be in school stay in school. If they are married, are they marrying equal partners? Are they marrying their age mates, or are they marrying a 60-year-old man somewhere? What kind of domestic arrangement is that? Is this girl safe if we marry her off to this old man? How many other children is she going to have over the next couple of years? And what kind of contribution does she make to us as a country and the economic role? Without an investment in education, you reduce the economic value of girls and of any person. Their options for work are reduced. The options in terms of having a voice and a say in their house are reduced. Their options in terms of being active participants in society are reduced. And so we really need to emphasize to our leaders and our communities the importance of really educating girls, and why these investments have to be made, and why we just need to hold on a little bit until they get to the age of 18 and finish their schooling cycle and learn to appreciate the value and the role that they play. In an economy and in a society, you have different spheres. You have the political sphere, you have the social sphere, you have the economic sphere, and even in the domestic. Anyone who is educated and empowered, who's earning some money, is a better partner, a better mother, a better contributor. She can pay some taxes, she can have a voice heard, she can advocate for issues that are concerning to her, and she can take better care of the child. As opposed, and we need to break this cycle of, continuous poverty, because if this young girl has a child, the prospects are low for her. the prospects are even lower for her child. And so we need to break this. And that leads me to our investment and focus in adolescent health. As the Aga Khan Foundation, we of course have a broader, more holistic view of health. We, in terms of alignment with your foundation, we know you do a lot of maternal health. We do maternal health as well, but in Uganda, we don't have this investment as yet. In Tanzania, we have a lot of investments together with Aga Khan University that look at maternal health. In Uganda, because of our youth demographic and the challenge that we've just highlighted, and our linkage to our education sort of portfolio, this piece of adolescent sexual reproductive health has been a critical need and gap that has been identified by all stakeholders, including the youth themselves. So in intervening in education and promoting girls' education, we cannot ignore the sexual reproductive health component. What does that look like for us? We're providing knowledge and information to adolescents about their health. This is very critical. We're trying to increase access and utilization of services and products that are appropriate to these young people, and community engagement, and that piece is very important. On knowledge and information, we found that youth listen to other youth. So peer-to-peer sort of sensitization is something that we're trying to promote and facilitate. We organize community events to share health information for these young people. We're also leveraging ICT platforms so that the youth can interact through popular social media and access the right information, and also promoting health groups for youth that might be in school. In terms of access services, we're partnering with private sector because our policy is a little bit rigid in terms of the public sort of service providers. They're not really encouraged to provide services to people below 18. And so understanding the realities of our community needs, we have partnered with private sector. Clinics and pharmacists provide appropriate services to youth. Youth need to be given information. They shouldn't be chased away from these pharmacies when they come to ask for products or services or for information. They're given counseling first and foremost and given advice. But we know that these young people, they are curious and they are active, as a matter of fact. And so rather than hide our heads in the sand, we provide a space where they can get the right information and the right services from professionals who have their best interest at heart. We also partnering with technology partners like Triggerize to provide a platform that helps us to track utilization of services of these young people. And we also leverage technology for mass communication. On the community engagement piece, we are creating safe spaces for good conversations, healthy conversations to be had in a safe space. So we're creating boys and girls groups and clubs where they can have conversations, ask questions, and be given information by peers and adults who can engage them in a friendly manner. We're also engaging the parents, we're creating parents groups because parents have a challenge talking to the young people and sharing this information with them. So we're trying to create parenting groups where they can be given the tools and resources to have these conversations with these young people and understand why, although they're not ready, we know the young people are not ready, but they're already getting active and they're exposed to HIV and AIDS, to pregnancy. So we need to be proactive and pragmatic and give them the right information in these safe spaces. So these are some of the things we're trying to do at the community level. Also engaging religious and cultural leaders. They are key opinion leaders and they influence the community in which these young people live. So we want them to be champions as well, to promote the right messaging, that these children need to know the right things. They need to be supported and guided and not just chastised. The gender equality piece for us is very critical. We're making significant investments over the next 4 years in the gender equality piece. There are a couple of components for us. We look at leadership and participation of women, education, of course, which I've mentioned, community engagement, which is a key aspect because any community determines the roles of the different gender, the members of the different genders in their society, sexual reproductive health, which I've touched on, and the economic empowerment piece. There are very critical things there. Under education, we're trying to invest in training teachers on gender sensitive and inclusive pedagogical skills. Teachers provide the most, the biggest learning space. And if they are not sensitive and aware, especially as they're teaching older children or adolescents, then they will have, a challenge of keeping these young people engaged and providing the right environment in which young children, young people don't feel humiliated, they feel welcomed and embraced, and their challenges appreciated. And this encourages girls' sort of participation. We know, unfortunately, the teachers are many of the abusers of our young girls. And so we have to make this investment at the teacher level so that they provide a safe learning environment for our children. We're piloting innovation funds to test some of these interventions in the school and community level. and promoting participation of girls in school leadership, in sports, and all academic activities. We want to reach them to reach their fullest potential. We're also, of course, training school management committees on this, and I touched on that a little bit. Under leadership, with promoting mentorship and role modeling of women as change makers to inspire other, next generation of women to take on leadership roles. This is critical. Economic and community engagement, of course, I mentioned that the cultural, religious leaders, the parents, and the singers and uncles and aunts of this world who influence other parents to marry off their daughters and things like that. We have that social behavior change component that we're working on to promote community engagement, to become active champions, to promote gender equality where they are. I touched on the sexual reproductive health and the economic empowerment. I'll touch on it in the next slide. I talked a little bit about civil society and what does that mean for the Aga Khan Foundation. Civil society for us is any community group that sort of, whether it is a farmer cooperative, whether it's a small youth savings group or women's group that meets to discuss whatever issues, that for us is civil society. From that small micro level, the small women's group, right through to an organized or registered CBO or a local NGO network. So this, we believe very strongly in the power of civil society. They're lasting actors, they come from the community, they understand the challenges that they face, and we believe that as external interveners, we need to respect the role that this civil society play and work through them. What do we do with them? We want to enhance their capacity for collective action, want to strengthen values-based societies, enhance transparency and accountability, and improve the services and resources and economic assets of the civil society. Because once they're empowered, they have resources, they have tools, then they can be effective in serving their constituents. On civil society, we have really leveraged these entities, especially during our COVID response. We've been able to reach over 1,000 women and girls with disabilities during COVID response, during the COVID crisis from last year through this year, with rapid cash transfers, ensuring that people had access to food while the lockdowns were happening, basic food, basic, hand washing, mask, sanitizer, basic things like that, and information, appropriate information for people with disabilities. We saw cases of police sort of shooting people who are deaf or beating people who had mental illness because they're not given the right support. So we were able to reach over 1,000 people with disabilities because of these organized sort of networks of people with disabilities. We work with NODU, which is the National Union of Women with Disabilities of Uganda, and they were able to through them, we're able to reach their members across West Nile and Central. We also worked with people living with epilepsy. People who live with epilepsy need drugs every day to live a normal life. Now, during the lockdown, of course, they couldn't access health facilities. And if you can't access your drugs, or if you access your drugs, you need food to be able to, to balance that out, because these drugs are very strong. So we're able to make sure that they accessed their drugs through various networks of religious clinics in West Nile, to make sure that these people can live, get their drugs, can get their basic cash, be able to access sanitizers, access food, and have basic money for their living expenses. And so we were able to do this because of associations like the Epilepsy Support Association of Uganda. So organized groups in the community who, have those special interests and can reach them and understand the challenges and advocate for their needs. We've also been able to work over the next 12 months, we'll be working with children with autism to ensure that they have access to education. All of us, of course, were concerned about our children and accessing studies, but you can imagine families with children who have autism had an extra special need. And so the government provided some materials, but these materials were not necessarily tailored to people with special, unique, challenges and learning disabilities. So we are going to work with children living with autism, providing access to appropriate health and support to their families. We're also going to work with young people living with HIV, with basic access to their drugs and basics like food and other support. We're also going to work with FIDA Uganda to reach victims of SGBV. We've seen all this talk, and we know that this lockdown and the economic pressures that came with COVID led to a spike in gender-based violence, and we're working with actors like FIDA to ensure that there's access to justice, that we provide startup kits for those who have been, have to run away and start a life somewhere else, and skilling for these women so they can have a future on their own. We're also going to work with girls with disabilities, girls in slums who are exposed to sex work, and we'll be working with people like Chambogo University to ensure that these girls with disabilities are given skills so that they don't end up on the streets exposed to violence and other abuse and exploitation. I'll end with a very critical piece that I think is also aligned with what the foundation is doing, the Rotary Foundation, which is economic inclusion. What that looks like for us is increased employment and self-employment for young people. The future of work, what does that look like for these young people? Enhanced access to affordable and useful financial information and assets, increased productivity and income for producers and their groups. So in all this, what are we doing with the communities? We are providing training and mentorship and coaching of young people, women and other entrepreneurs. We're developing tailored training curricula for them. We're partnering with civil society to deliver training. We're partnering with the private sector to provide those linkages, fostering market linkages for producers, whether they're farmers, and providing market-driven training to them so that whatever they are investing in is actually per the demand of the market. We also want to build capacity of groups like cooperatives to access markets, financing and partnerships, and leveraging digital platforms. Under future of work and employment, we're looking at market skills assessments. We're training youth on employability and the 21st century skills that we talked about. We're partnering with vocational institutes to deliver these technical skills alongside the life skills component. We do things like business plan competitions to promote innovation and invest in these young people and their ideas. We partner with the private sector to promote those linkages, internship and placements, and we're leveraging digital platforms for training and creating job opportunities and access to markets for young people. And for access to finance, an important piece, we have the Diamond Trust Bank as a key partner for us and Jubilee Insurance. And we want to leverage the strength of our network to provide access to financial services for people, different categories, linkages to these financial services, and support to refinancing of savings groups during COVID. Allow me to stop there and also attend to my 6-year-old who's crying at my door. Sorry about that, but I'll stop my presentation there and welcome any questions that you have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you indeed, Marilyn Mungereza, for your insights into what the Aga Khan Foundation is doing. Great similarities with what we are doing at with our Rotary Foundation. And indeed, I know that Rotarians have a lot of questions they would like to engage you with. So allow me right now invite UAGE Dr. Safina Musene-Kisu to kindly guide us through our interaction session. I'll be grateful if you can do this in a span of 5 minutes to allow us conclude our fellowship on time. And I don't know if, Marilyn, you have some extra 10 minutes after 8, so that is, should we not be able to conclude all the questions, we can take them after the end of our fellowship. I welcome you, Dr. Safina.
Thank you very much, President. And indeed, a comment from the President is a directive. I work within the 5 minutes that you have given us. We want to thank Cameron for the great presentation you have made. You have got a lot of compliment in the charter room, but I have about 3 questions that have been raised so far. I will allow members, maybe 1 or 2 with in-person questioning, but let me read the 4 questions. One is from Rotarian Stephen Wakasanze. There is a big disparity between the Aga Khan versus the current education system, and I think he means the current education system in Uganda. How can we bridge this gap? And also, how does the Aga Khan system cater for our respective culture? That is Rotarian Stephen. Then Rotarian Kalunji was asking, do we have a collaborations with other universities? And then Rotarian Nur Nachitende is asking, has the foundation considered investing in mental health awareness and treatment? And then the first question, Marilyn, is from Rotarian David Sempala, and is asking, how do we leverage on private sector partnership to invest in your people and help scale up access to education and skills development in Uganda. Marilyn, those are the 4 questions, but my personal one, when are we starting Aga Khan hospital, training hospital in Uganda? You know, this problem has been on for so long. You can respond to those as I get others. I thank you, Melanie.
Thank you, Rotarian Safina, for that, and all Rotarians for your questions. I'll start with the hospital. I think a few weeks ago when Ambassador Amin was speaking to you, he told you about where we are with that. It's a long-term investment. It's about over $100 million investment in that facility. It will take time. It's going to be a teaching hospital. We have already started a lot of work. We have built up what we call the mock building, which will also be used for teaching. Those who will be learning at the university will be, I think we're looking at maybe about 10 years when that will be done. It's a phased sort of, it's a lot of, it's a very big project. So we've built up the mock buildings, which basically house a model room, a model theater, operation room, a model, you know. So that mock building is built up and it's ready for the sort of the training of the health workers, the teachers, the doctors, the nurses. And so that piece is ready. The rest of the building will commence later, has already commenced. And so a lot of work will be done. What has been done is a lot of transplanting. It's a 40-acre site, a lot of transplanting of trees. I think Ambassador mentioned that every single tree was transplanted except one. Only one tree on that site was cut down. And so it's a very ambitious project. He said it will be better than the one in Nairobi, and that this is in fact true. His Highness believes in international standards. He does not believe in a Ugandan standard or an East African standard. He believes in international standards. So I think over the next 10 years, we should be seeing more of that, the university and the teaching hospital coming to life. So it's a long journey, but we'll get there. I think we're looking at about 10 years. So that's the first question I can answer. How do we bridge the gap in education? I think it's all about investment. There are no shortcuts. Education is a very expensive thing. It takes a very long time. You have to educate for someone for maybe 18 years of their lives. You have to invest in ECD, you have to invest in primary, you have to invest in secondary, you have to invest in university. And without those investments, we won't get very far. We are making our contribution, as we mentioned, working with the PTCs because we believe in the teachers being a very important part of that investment. We do not invest in building schools per se. We believe in investing in the teachers and building their capacities, whether they're in service, whether they're already working, or whether they are pre-service, the ones who are coming through sort of the teacher training. So we make those investments so that you can have quality teachers and they can be dispatched to the classrooms around the country and they can provide quality education. So I think that is ultimately what we are doing. We're also investing in the school management committees, as I said. I think it's important to note that we work with public institutions, not private, in terms of education, because we believe the government is, when you want to reach scale, you work through the government. And if you want to have sustainability, again, you work through the government, because at the end of the day, the government is the one that has the resources and the commitment to provide these services across the country. So when we're trying to pilot something, we want to pilot it with the government. So that when they see it, if the model works, they can take it and replicate it across. And therefore you have a higher multiplier effect by working with the government, and you can reach bigger numbers and have more impact. So we try to provide those, that partnership with government is critical for us because it allows impact to be scalable, learning to be scaled, so that you don't have just one nice investment in one nice school somewhere in a private place and that doesn't come into the public space and influence a bigger number or network of schools. So I don't know, I hope I've answered that a bit. The only way to bridge the gap is to make investments. There are no shortcuts to this thing. How do we cater for culture? I'm not sure that I understood that question. How do we cater for culture? I'm not sure that question was sort of aimed at the Aga Khan schools or at the schools that we work with in the community.
I think it is about the Aga Khan culture and the Ugandan culture in general. I feel that's the question. You know the culture of Aga Khan, you know it very well.
Okay, so what I will say is that Aga Khan, when we talked about our values, the first one is pluralism, and that basically means diversity, appreciation of the fact that we're all different. So Aga Khan, we work across East Africa, we are in Egypt, in Mozambique, we're in several countries, we're also in Central Asia. And we're a global organization. We have offices across Washington. We have offices in Canada, in the UK. What does that mean? His Highness is a global leader. He's not just a leader. Of course, he's a leader in the Islamic, he's a leader of the Ismailis, yes, but he is a global leader. He's a secular leader in the sense that he has made investments across communities that are not Muslim communities, that are not, Asian communities, that are across the communities that we live and work in. So what our value
just
is,
hold on. Let me ask President, you gave me 5 minutes and I'm now at 6 minutes. Should we go ahead?
Yeah, let's allow the presenter to finish the questions that have been given and placed.
Okay, thank you.
So what am I trying to say is that while we do have we have the background that we have, we believe in a global outlook and we respect the communities in which we work, and we want to be actors that are relevant to the communities in which we work. That's why I talked about working with local civil society, because we recognize that we are an external actor coming in to intervene. So we like to work with locally established institutions, fully respecting their cultures and just coming to provide support and tools and resources. We do not try to promote, we are not promoting, there's no cultural component. In that way, we are secular. We are not non-denominational, we are a secular institution in that sense, although we do have our sort of Islamic ethos and spirit behind us, but we do not do any sort of promotion of Islam or culture. We don't have that, we don't have those aspects in any of our programming. I hope that helps to respond to you.
Yes, that does.
We talked about, do we have collaborations with other universities? I would say it depends. Yes, we do. Where we try to leverage the strength of the network where we do have that strength. So when I mentioned our maternal health work in Tanzania, I talked about the Aga Khan University. We have a very strong investment and component on that aspect in our university. So when we do have interventions along that line, we will leverage the strength of the network to have our institutions involved. Where we do not have the presence or the expertise, we do partner with those who have the strength and expertise, even if they're not members of our network or a university that's affiliated to Aga Khan University. So yes, we do partner with others. I talked about Chambogo University. We have a very strong relationship with them because we're investing in teacher training. So we can't avoid, we do work with local institutions, whatever as long as they're experts and leaders in their field, we will partner with them. We partner with the best, regardless of whether they're internal to us or not. Have we tried to invest in mental health awareness? That's a very important question. Yes, when we were doing our partnership with the NUODU, some of these were the aspects that came out. And again, we like to work with partners who are experts in that field. We're not partners in mental health, but we work with those who are leading the charge on mental health to provide this support and services. So yes, we have made some of those investments, but we have not, we are looking for more partners. We have tried conversations with an entity called You Belong, who do specialize in mental health. We tried to go for some funding together. We were not yet successful, but we do recognize the importance of the investment in mental health and promotion of the awareness, because this is something that has been plaguing us, and these issues have been coming to light more and more, especially during the lockdown, the effects of COVID and the lockdown on people and their mental health and the stress and dealing with all these challenges. So that's an important piece. And we are looking for partners to support us in that work. Somebody asked a question about private sector investment. Rotary and Safina, could you just repeat that question?
Okay. No, the last question was, how can you leverage on private sector partnership to invest in younger people and help scale up access to education and skills development in Uganda?
I think there are a couple of things. That's a critical thing that we're trying to do. Private sector, ultimately, they're the ones who create the jobs. They're the ones who know what kind of skills they're looking for from the people who are coming out of university. So the critical piece that we can do with private sector, first and foremost, is to understand their needs. So doing a market needs assessment, they're the ones who are the off-takers, if you will, of labor that we are training and building, whose capacity we are building. So they need to inform us about what do they need, what are they looking for in an employee, what do they want from this person, what are the skills needed to succeed as an employee, but also as an employer. If someone wants to start a business and be an employer like a member of the private sector, we need to understand what those skills are and then feed back that into the schools. I think schools need to make these partnerships and these linkages. Let's close the gap between education and private sector. Education, if you want to promote things like innovation, we always say, oh, we were not innovative enough, people are not, young people are not exposed. We need to link private sector employers and schools. Let them come for what we use, career days. Let them talk about their work. Let them talk about expectations. Let them share. Have the children go and visit these facilities. Simple things like bring your child to work day that people promote allows children to be exposed to the world of work. How do people present themselves at work? What are the values of workplaces? What do these companies do? Where does money come from? We need to have those linkages so that work, business, enterprise is not foreign to young people, that they don't find it when they just step out of university, then suddenly you need to learn that, oh, when you get a salary, you have to save some money, or if you come to work and present yourself like this. Let these things not be foreign. Let them be exposed to these things, in the right doses over time, so they can enter the world of work as responsible people who understands what's expected of them, or as entrepreneurs who have dreams to create businesses and grow them and employ others.
Okay, thank you very much, Marilyn, and I really don't need to add on any word. President, back to you. We are very grateful to you, Madam.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Safina. And friends, I'm kindly requesting that you borrow us strictly 5 minutes to enable us conclude our fellowship. But to you, Marilyn, thank you very much for this quite insightful discussion that you have shared with us this morning. It's just my humble request, if you have 5 to 10 minutes after our fellowship, I'm sure some few individuals would want to engage you in 1 or 2 things. And indeed, yes, you're not yet a Rotarian, but you are a Rotarian at heart. And I'm certain that our director membership will knock your door and see how best they can guide you into being Rotary, since all you're doing is actually all that Rotary does. So allow me right now to invite you, Rotarian Faith Tushabe, to move a befitting vote of thanks to our guest speaker. Rotarian Faith, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you so much to our guest speaker today. Learning more about the Aga Khan Foundation and also about giving, and also we just want to thank you for spending your time this morning and sharing with us. We hope the Chimeza will ask more questions and engage you more. We are giving you a certificate. It is virtual now, but I'm sure in an appropriate time our president will present it to you, and it is in appreciation and recognition for sharing your knowledge and experience during the service to humanity, the common passion for the Aga Khan Foundation and Rotary. Thank you so much, Madam Marilyn Mungereza, and we hope to have you join us very soon as a Rotarian. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very, very much, Rotarian Faith, for moving up the fitting vote of thanks. And indeed, at a right moment, we will present this certificate to you. Before I welcome you, now Rotarian Yedida Nyakato, to precisely give us statistics for the day. Thank you, Yedida, in advance. Please go right ahead.
Thank you so much, my president. Good morning, Rotarians, Rotaractors, and guests on call. We've been blessed with a wonderful morning with over 190 participants. Among them, more than 16 CMPs. The Rotary clubs, we had 45. The details will be published shortly after, and 1 Rotaract club. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, Rotarian Yedida. Before I can invite you, Wakasenza, to give us the final toast, I want to move a befitting vote of thanks to each and every single one of you that has joined us this morning. But before I do that in a very, very special way, I want to appreciate our ripe intending Rotarians, Coach Israel, Katia, Robert Kawesi, William, Tuliomu Rugendo. Thank you so much for plugging in. And this is indeed confirmation that you're ready. But I will not hesitate to appreciate each and every single one of you again. But starting with our Rotary leaders and the district officials, thank you very much for gracing our fellowship this very morning. I appreciate you, DGE Honorable Mike Sebaru, for always being with us and supporting us all the way. I want to also appreciate you, DRRE Sarah Owembabazi. We call you Our Works at Daybreak. Thank you so much for always being with us, and also the past assistant governors. Thank you very much for making time to be with us. The Changemaker Ages, led by the Dean of Ages, Kaitarama. Thank you very much for always being with us. And to you, our friends and international partners from District 91, led by our very own Changemaker President, POP Donor, and VCC Samwanje. Thank you very much for always being with us every Thursday morning. And to you, my fellow Changemaker presidents in District 91, led by our very own POP, Kate Barasa. Thank you so much. It is always warming to have you with us every Thursday morning. I hope God will guide us with the grace to return these numerous favors and visits that you give to our club. We really appreciate you so much. And to you, all Rotarians, Rotaractors, guests, and all friends of Rotary, thank you very, very, very much. We thank you, and we don't take your visit for granted. It is now my privilege to invite you, Rotarian Stephen Wakasensa, to give us the final toast as we come to the end of our fellowship.
Wakasensa.
Wakasensa.
Rotarians, distinguished guests, can we all be upstanding if we can? As a proud Rotarian, I request you to join me to toast to Rotary International.
Rotary
world over.
Thank you
And
very much,
Rotary,
friends.
and Rotary is
God bless
over.
you and make you a blessing.
The fellowship is adjourned.
Okay, thank you very much. I will now open the Chimeza discussion. For those of you that would like to engage Marilyn, I hope she's still with us for just 5-10 minutes. If you have anything that you would want her to throw a little more light on, or a few questions that you might have, this is the time that you get to do this. Thank you very much.